Yes,
Ready to spill over
ma'am.
be.
All right. I'll bring this Town of Vinalhaven Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Tuesday, August 26, 2024. Roll call. Tom Anthony, Lad Olson is absent. Don Young, Leslie Dyer, myself, Elizabeth Bunker, and Marjorie Stratton. Number 2, approve agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Number 3, approve the minutes from the July 23rd, 2024 meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Approve and sign treasurer's warrants number 6.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Number 5, communications. Marjorie?
I don't have any.
Okay. Number 6, speakers from the floor.
Everybody looking at me.
I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know if you had something you.
Jason Joyce from Swans Island, I'm a town selectman, and I'm running as an independent for district representative. And I wanted to be able to come and see you folks and let you know that if I am elected in the fall, that I'll be easy to reach, communicating, finding out what you need, and also communicating to you what's going on in Augusta to see if there's anything I can help with. Something I have similar, I would say, other than being, we're a smaller town than you folks are. You got a lot longer agenda than we do on our meetings, but ferry service is very similar. Some of the issues we're dealing with there, you've got a larger population, so you have a bigger issue with it than we do. But I'm familiar with some of those things, so I just wanted to swing in and say hi and sit for the meeting.
Well, thank you for coming. So you have ferry issues also that you.
Well,
Get
we've
frustrated
had,
with
I mean,
them.
it kind of started back in COVID, but there's a problem with retention. The pay isn't very good.
Right.
Just different issues. It seems, I mean, we've had cancellations because a life raft wasn't certified. My opinion, as I've talked to crew and talked to our ferry advisory board members, the elimination of the port captain, I think was a bad move. I think that would be good to reinstate. I do know that I guess they just recently put out port manager position or something like that. They're advertising for it now. But I would wish that they would bring that port captain back just so the operations go well and smooth. But we haven't lost as many trips as you guys have lost. We have a large population of 2 boats running back and forth. We have just 1.
So if you lose one trip for you guys, it's more impactful than us losing one.
Yeah, well, it is. Our population has grown a little bit since COVID. We share our ferry boat with Frenchboro. They're in a hard spot. They've only got, I think, 19 or 20 year-round residents, so they don't really provide a lot of ridership, but they need access. So that's one of the things that we have to deal with. Our ferry schedule will change. We've had some issues where, I don't know, we've been asked as a select board, give your input. Doesn't feel like our input is listened to. Not a bit.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly can agree on that, and that we will have a discussion coming up. Al Barker, I don't know if you've met Al.
Yes, I did.
So more discussion will later on in the meeting. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7, committee and departmental reports and appointments. A, Woodard and Curran.
I don't have anything specific from Woodard and Curran. We did meet last Thursday and again on Monday. Last Thursday was the monthly meeting that we have with the water district. Oh, you were there, sorry.
We weren't there. So.
Hard to believe how forgettable that I am.
But just to review, we discussed Woodard and Curran needing a little bit more information. This is referring to the downtown project about raising the pump stations, and he's working with Jake Barber and Hedstrom to try to get a more reasonable cost on that portion of the project. We're still trying to get a report from Eric Calderwood, the engineer that came and looked at that I-beam, so that we understand whether we have to replace that when we replace the water pipes. And Woodard and Curran still owes us, there were a lot of questions around the phase 2 part of our project was the parking lot. And people asked a lot of questions around, well, what happens when we have a storm surge? If we raise the parking lot 18 inches, 2 feet, whatever that's going to be, is the water going to just go around the edges and, impact other businesses, for instance? And so he still owes us that memo. And then on Monday, we again talked about that I-beam. Pam got some great historical pictures of the installation of I think it was the installation of the water pipe originally. Or is it just that there was some construction going on and it showed?
Where they rebuilt the bridge.
What year were those pictures?
The one where they had the bridge torn up was 1960.
Yeah, well, anyway, it just gives you some perspective on the infrastructure historically. That was great. So Woodard and Curran is still working with JBI to reduce the costs. We're still waiting. We applied for the main infrastructure adaptation fund, 2.2 million. We should hear the middle of this month. But if we don't get that, we're also looking at this new fund, which we'll be talking about it later, because you have to approve our application process. It's called RECAP through USDA. And we should be finalizing the design of the water district building, which is also in phase 2. Any questions about any of those? So that's sort of a combination of the Woodard and Curran and the downtown project.
Anything, any updates on the permit application for the Grange Hall?
Yep, I got an email and he asked who should be present he's trying to set up a meeting with, representatives from Vinalhaven and Woodard and Curran and Army Corps of Engineers and Department of Marine Resources, so that we can all talk, probably on a Zoom meeting, and they can answer any questions that any of us might have about the permitting. And I thought, I suggested Pam and you, Donald, because you're kind of the driver of this little project, so that you could ask questions. So that's the last I know.
Okay. I would suggest that obviously Millie and Jake should probably be there as well.
Yeah, I can only have 2 selectmen, so I guess I was thinking from selectmen perspective. When I get the final date and time, I can add those.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. New Waste Watchers formation document.
So this came about, I think we've talked about it briefly before. This was a committee that formed originally a few years ago to rewrite the solid waste ordinance and get the composting program going, and it sort of evolved into just swap shop. So I said that, we should just do another formation document so that we know who you are, what your goals are, and what you're doing at the present time. So that's all this is, just to, as I said, know what the committee is and, what the goals are, to rewrite the document, that's all.
Any action you need to take?
Yeah, just a motion to adopt the Waste Watchers committee formation document.
Is the composting still ongoing?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's going quite well, really. I mean, we don't bag up the compost anymore and try to sell it. If people want compost, they just go over and either, if it's a small amount, they can shovel it into a tote, or Kenny occasionally will just go over with the backhoe and, if somebody wants more than just a small amount. Our household uses it to get rid of our garbage. It just takes the weight of garbage out of the waste stream, and it seems to be working.
I do my own, but I still don't have enough.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people, have their own backyard. We used to do that, but then it just became a nuisance, and so we use the one at the transfer station now.
I have boxes out back and shovel and all that stuff.
Yeah, whatever works.
Do you want to make a motion?
I move to approve the new waste watchers formation document as submitted.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Need a little bell.
I thought you said second. I didn't know you
Well,
were
I
looking for second.
kind of did, but that's all right. That's fine. D, Maine State Ferry Service Advisory Board. Alan?
Yeah, on the 18th of July, we had the last advisory board meeting. The meeting was generally a hashing over of the crew situation and discussion about the temp agency that they got involved and the price of the temp agency's contract. So the meeting basically, I had to attend it Zoom because I couldn't go to the meeting, but what I could gather from the Zoom meeting was they had the commissioner and some budget folks from Augusta there from the transportation side. They talked about the different aspects of the contract, like they said, well, it's a $750,000 contract. That doesn't mean that the workers are getting $750,000. Just like when you hire an employee here, you might hire a position, say, I'll just say, road commissioner. You might say the road commissioner is $50,000. Well, $50,000 might be your salary, but you still got all the benefits and the retirement and the insurance and all that other kind of stuff that's folded into it. So that's what adds up to the $750,000. That and the fee from the temp agency and whatnot. It's not that the two captains, the two captains, the engineer, and the 3 ABs are getting $750,000. No. It's costing the state $750,000 to fill those positions through the temp agency with all the other stuff. So no, they're not out there making captains. You don't have an ordinary making captain's pay, but the rumor was buzzing around at the time. The other thing was they talked about, well, like tomorrow they're doing the COI on the Thompsons. We aren't gonna have the Thompson for the first 2 runs tomorrow. And somebody said, well, why don't they just put the relief crew on and send the other boat? Well, you'd have to have an entire crew because the COI involves the on-duty crew because they have to take them out, run them through their emergency drills, launch the rescue boat, simulate a rescuing process, and all kinds of stuff to get the boat certified. It's a combination, the boat and the crew are getting inspected, not just them just walking through and seeing if all the lights are working on the boat and things like that. It's a major process. They talked about the new tariff. Tariff 10 took effect on August 1st. And yes, everybody went to the same as that, and they had their inputs and all their concerns about the new rates and whatnot, and like everything else, it kind of fell on deaf ears. Their mind was made up before the meeting was drawn up. So as you know, the 18.6% fare increase took effect. You don't have to upgrade your tickets until August 15th.
If you got them by July 31st.
So, well, if you have any of the, or if you have reservations that you already bought the tickets for that are still sitting in the computer, you won't have to upgrade them if you pick them up or use them before August 14th. On August 15th, you didn't have to upgrade all your tickets. They just had that little grace period, so not to slow down the boarding process in the morning. The new replacement for the Libby is being dedicated on September 12th, I think it is. We're gonna have a ceremony over in Rockland if anybody wants to go.
What was that, excuse me, what was that date, sorry?
I think it's September 12th. I think that's what it said, September 12th at 11 o'clock.
Assuming the vote goes.
Yeah, assuming we have a boat to take us over there to get to that ceremony. As you know, it's been dedicated in honor of a Maine Native American, that was World War II, Morton Shag. I don't know if he was a resident of Matinicus or how Matinicus got involved in choosing the name and the family and everything, but that dedication is coming up. And there was no mention of them selling the Libby, which I hope they don't. They sold to Curtis, and that was a mistake. Libby may be the oldest boat, but it's still the best one. And other than that, it was just a typical, not a whole lot of information came. They already have made a couple of changes. Well, not changes, but some of the suggestions that we put in to the tariff, they ignored in the end.
Al, have they ever given you numbers of the budget to see what the costs are and the revenues are?
They have the cost breakout for all of the other islands, except Vinalhaven, North Haven, they lump us as Rockland. So it says Rockland has an increase or decrease in ridership. And we said, you gotta break us out by run, because we have 2 runs and North Haven has 1. So to say that Rockland has a ridership increase or decrease isn't painting an accurate picture.
It also has to break down
And they also had to break
runs that
down, they
don't
said
go.
that had that Vinalhaven had an 8.5% decrease in ridership, but May and June, we had a 50% decrease in boats, so.
Exactly.
Of course, we're gonna have a decrease in ridership, so. But he assured me that by the next meeting, you'll have a better breakout of what actually is. I mean, they can get what Vinalhaven sells for tickets, and they can get what North Haven sells for tickets. But then when they say Rockland has Vinalhaven, North Haven, and Matinicus. So how can they say Rockland? Rockland's not a source.
Yeah.
They're a source of problem, pain, but not a source.
And that's not a very complicated process, I mean.
It shouldn't be, especially with all the computerized tickets.
Yeah.
It used to be, when you went to Rockland, 1 ticket was dedicated to North Haven. One terminal, 1 window was Vinalhaven.
Right.
And they always knew, they had every time they talked money, they could show Vinalhaven's combination of what we sold from Vinalhaven, what Rockland sold to Vinalhaven. Now they just lump everything from Rockland to Rockland. And that includes parking passes and everything else that they sell.
That makes no sense at
It
all.
makes no sense.
Recognize Millie, so she had her hand up. It's Millie?
I guess, I don't even know if you can answer this, Al, but did they know ahead of time that this testing was going to be happening with the ferry? That it was going out and they were gonna be launching the life rafts and that it had.
The certificate of inspiration,
Yeah.
that's an annual requirement for all the boats.
So
they
why
just
aren't they
seem-
working ahead and putting a crew into place?
They don't have a crew to put in place. And they don't have a boat to put in place, because they have to, the inspection is both, it's the capabilities of the crew and and their adherence to the regulations and stuff. And it's also how they have to inspect the boat at the same time. You can't demonstrate launching a rescue boat with the boat in use somewhere else.
Well, right.
They have to all.
I just don't recall us seeing like customers and because of.
We do it all the time, it's just
So used to it.
like, they just told us 2 weeks ago, oh, by the way, we're gonna, for the month of August, we're gonna test putting reservations on the Thompson. And that we're 100% positive that we've got the crew and everything for the Thompson, so go ahead, sell reservations, and boom, they're taking it off for 2 runs, and if it fails the inspection, they're taking it off for the thing. That sounds like 100% confidence, and so go ahead and sell reservations.
All right. Leslie?
So I have a question and just a general statement. So is this replacement crew, company, temp, whatever, are they engaged now? Are they working now?
Yep. It started
So-
in the middle of July.
But they didn't have anybody for crew this morning, so there was no 7 o'clock boat from here.
Well, they sent the crew, they flew a crew over. We needed an AB and they flew an ordinary over. So even after they flew the guy over, they still couldn't run the boat, they sent the wrong guy.
And my other statement is just a general fact. Matinicus just got a brand new boat and their rates did not increase with this new 18 point whatever.
Everybody's rates went up on the,
According to a captain I spoke to, Matinicus's rates were not being affected.
I believe they increased.
it was across the board.
Well, maybe he was wrong, but
That's probably, he probably hadn't been told.
and this wasn't
They haven't had
a few
it
weeks
since
ago.
the new tariff took effect, so he probably doesn't know.
I just find it interesting they have this temp agency and we still don't have crew.
The temp agency, they are providing 2 captains, an engineer, and 2 ADs.
We'll have one of the ADs on Swan.
And they're
That's
still,
very nice.
and they've still got the full, all positions for the relief crew are still being advertised. The advertisement runs out, then they have to wait, and then they have to re-advertise, so they just re-advertise for the whole crew again. And either between not getting qualified applicants or applicants that come and either don't meet the expectations or find out that the job was more than what they thought it was, so they turn it down, nobody wants to work. Especially for the state, nobody wants to work for the state because they can get better money and just about any other marine position pay more than the state does.
Right.
One guy got a job, but he wasn't gonna spend the night on the island, he thought he was gonna go home at night. I said, no, you can be on the island for 7 days over and 7 days off. No, that ain't gonna work, so he turned it down. You get people like that, they don't read the whole application, they just look at, hey, I'm gonna be on the coast of Maine, running a boat, fly, find out more about it at the interview. And it's frustrating, you know, for all of them.
Well, it's frustrating for all of us too.
But we're just hoping that the next legislative section comes in, that they will take some action to raise some pay and stuff, because the legislature's the one that does that, not the commissioner. And I feel for Billy Gary, I mean, he inherited a hornet's nest, and somebody forgot to take the stick out of it before they gave it to him, so the stick is still stirring the hornet,
Seems more like a firecracker.
but he inherited a mess that his hands are tied. I mean, he can't create positions, he can't raise salaries, all he can do is dodge bullets. And they're coming faster and faster at him every day, so. But that's what I got from the advisory board. And I just sent you a copy of Tariff 10, it has been posted.
Thank you.
All righty. Well,
Any other questions?
sounds to
Any
me like it's a
comments for me to-
never
any
ending.
questions for me to take back to the next meeting?
No, we might have some choice words, but
I think the budget and the seeing the numbers would be very enlightening, I think.
I'll give Rick an email tonight and ask him if he can have a breakout that he can give me. He ought to be able to just shoot me something.
I'll have a little comment. You guys were, actually, he was never your senator. We had a senator named Brian Langley, and he's on the Lobster Marketing Collaborative now. But anyways, he's a business owner in Ellsworth, but I was speaking to him somewhat about this 2 months ago and explained from our perspective some of the issues that were going on. And he helped me put together a bill. It's not earth shattering, but it would, if it passed, it would allow the Ferry Advisory Committee to bypass DOT and get bullet points to the Transportation Committee so they could see recommendations on financial and operations. I don't know if it will pass, but it's from my perspective, it just seems like the Ferry Advisory Committee, we got Sonny Sprague on that as an alternate. I mean, he's been there since Methuselah, and they don't seem to listen. So it would be nice if, I don't know, but the Transportation Committee needs to. And I spoke to Wayne Carey. He's a fisherman down in, I believe he's in Hartsville. He's on the Transportation Committee. And I asked him, I said, are you ever presented anything from the Ferry Advisory Committee? He says, we've never had anyone from the Ferry Advisory Committee or anything that he says I can remember for a document showing any recommendations, which I think is nothing against DOT, but I think we're in it through that conduit of DOT. I think a lot of the recommendations get thrown into a huge budget, and the Transportation Committee doesn't understand what's going on, in my opinion.
Well, doesn't care.
Well, I ride that boat. I've ridden that boat for 54 years, so I feel. But yeah, I would like to see more caring in it.
We'll just keep plugging away and see what we can do. I mean, we've written many letters and talked to people, and with the Ferry Advisory Committee, they do a great job, so.
Yeah, you know, there's been different groups that have started. I know Island Institute tried to get something instituted, but our position as selectmen have been not to kind of get involved with those things, but support we've already got a system in place, the Ferry Advisory Committee. It just seems like their opinions and recommendations are just not, we don't, in our opinion, we felt that we don't need another opinion, we just need that communicated with each other.
Yeah, because all of their recommendations are from the residents of the island, so.
There's a good representation from each of the islands.
Exactly, yeah, so, okay. All right, anybody have anything further they want to add to the conversation? All right, we'll move along to Public Works. Millie?
Well, around the Island Road is coming along nicely. We'll be done hopefully Thursday afternoon with the car and the ribbon. I was calling Dawn before everybody got here. We had a bunch of really good sized rocks that we pulled out. One we estimated it at about 500 pounds, and others are in the 100-pound mark that have been coming up and coming out. So off to a good start, I think, and we'll be ready. We'll put some gravel down, grade it, and that will be ready for asphalt. I think we're doing the first one somewhere between August 18th and 20th.
Good.
So we'll start that. It may be a little bit of a process because we're working with Dave Whitney, and he can give us the vote like 3 days a week for now. So, it will be patchwork, but we'll get it done, and hopefully we can run smoothly on that. Any questions on that?
Is that one where we give priority on the car trucks coming over?
We're not gonna even mess with the ferry boats because I'm too nervous about the ferry boats. I can't have a load of power come down at 400 degrees and sit in line and find out the boat's not going. So I put the transporter into the budget when I did the figures. So we're going to be using the transporter, and they're going to make 3 trips, 3 round trips a day, carrying 9 trucks. 3 of them will be home-based trucks that will catch the first boat leaving out in the morning, and it will come back on the last boat in for that night. So fingers crossed all goes well. There was a little concern about real low tides. When I was looking, the tides looked to be about mean during the end of August versus September. It might change. If that happens, we will speak to DOT about using the ramp and bringing them down there. The Western Star is down again. Seems to be its favorite thing to do is not run. I believe this time it's a depth sensor, which makes the truck act like the exhaust filter. So the diesels, they have an exhaust filter for the environment. They get clogged and they have to be cleaned out. There was no warning or anything. The truck, we started it up, went to take off, and it wouldn't move. So it was in limp mode, which happens when the filter's clogged, but there was no warning prior to. Usually there's a warning and it gives you like 50 miles of such. No warning, so I think it's a sensor, but we'll take care of that when I'm done being mad at it. The other thing I wanted to just touch base with, we talked about a little bit at the last meeting, was speed limits.
What is it?
The speed limits.
Oh.
So the speed limits, by law, we are required to go with, when the gentleman that came out and rode with Andy for however long to set speed limits, we're supposed to follow his recommendations and not make them different than what his recommendations were. And a lot of them are different than his recommendations, which means that they are not enforceable by law, so to speak. So I think that we probably should look at investing in some signs in this fall, perhaps. Or I'll see what we've got as well for detail, but we really ought to change those to his recommendations so that they are enforceable.
Is it worth speaking to them to see if we could get okay to use current signs rather than spending the money on new signs? But they're not cheap, I think.
I can't do that. Well, no, the signs are fine. It's the speed limits themselves.
Yeah, but
I think I can look, I don't know for sure exactly what we've had, but they're not gonna let us keep the speed limits that aren't their suggestion, if that's what.
Well, I meant, can they give us a revision on the suggestion so that maybe you get them to agree to what we have?
He won't do that without coming out here and doing it all over again.
Probably cheaper to get the signs.
You have to have special permits and certificates in order to change them from what they are. So in order to change from his present recommendation, we would have to have him come out again, which I'm not even sure he'd do because of the time. It hasn't been very long since he did it, 2019, 2018, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How many places have we run before?
90%.
Everywhere that it says 20 miles an hour.
All the 20s are supposed to be 25s, so some of them are supposed to be 30s. And then there's a bunch of 30s that should be 35s, and then there's a couple of 40s.
Basically, all the ones that are still up. They haven't been taken down.
Pretty much. And so in the cases like that, there are laws, so it doesn't mean that because our signs aren't correct, that it's legal to drive however fast you want. There's 2 state speed limits that are applied in areas that are less than 18-foot wide, I believe, roads. And those are at 25, and then all other roads that are not posted or are out of town, so to speak, are 45. So, I mean, they're enforceable, but they're not right, so we should definitely put them to his recommendation. Does that need a vote or anything?
No, the selectmen actually don't have any authority over speed limits. I mean, so they wouldn't.
Yeah.
wouldn't
So
make
that's
any-
on with them.
obviously the town manager doesn't either. Or didn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, the minutes, we hunted up the minutes to find out what, you know, what was going on with it, and, I mean, it was kind of a group effort, so.
What did the minutes say?
It just went around with suggestions of, how did it say, something about Andy gave his report, and then you guys went around and suggested that there was a motion for 20 and a motion for 35. and-
Well, I recall that we did ask to have the, from the bandstand going down through town. Could we have that like at 20 miles an hour?
That one might have been in.
But the rest of them, I do not recall that the board ever said that we wanted the entire village, whatever you want to call it, the village, at 20 miles an hour. That was not, if I
It was
recall.
recorded.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't think we said 20 miles an hour all the way through to the lumberyard going up that way.
Doesn't
That's
really
weird.
matter now, I guess.
No, I know, I just don't recall that we suggested
yeah.
that.
It doesn't matter, it's passed.
Yeah,
The point
It is
here
what it
that
is.
We need to,
Fix
we need
it.
to fix it.
Right.
That's it, so, and as long as it's on me and not needing a vote here, then I'll just take care of it as I go.
mhm.
I think that's it for me at this point. Any questions?
How is the impound yard going?
It's going just fine. We've had cars end up in there, people paying, releasing vehicles, and then we've got one vehicle there right now that I don't know if it might just be there forever. Because that person's upset and. But it's going fine, as far as I can see. Kathy Watt, I think it was asking about towing a bunch of vehicles from the state ferry service, long-term parking lot, and I said, no, that's the state's deal, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Maybe if we had a ferry boat, I can do it.
Oh, no, but that's not our property, so.
It's not.
not
and
up
I'm-
to the
so I'm
town.
not- I'm
Not our
not towing
job.
vehicles and impounding them and putting more work on.
I think Peter helped her out.
Good.
To
I
discover,
imagine it is.
yeah.
I have a couple cars down at the town wharf parking lot too, but I have found the owners to those, and they're working with me. One of them needs to go to the dump, and the dump's not accepting vehicles, so I'm like, well, leave it there for now, and we'll figure it out, you know, as soon as we can. 'cause
But
he-
bunkers are taken, because they're covered.
The other night,
If they do, go over to jump out and that's what I'm on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk
They
to
just
Mike.
took 2 junk vehicles
Mike and Alana.
the other day.
I don't- my
He's
neighbor
working on
asked where to get rid of one, and
That's great.
he worked on those.
Right.
For a minute, he had to find a different place because Jackson Salvage is not taking anything.
Oh, I
Is that the
So
issue?
that was the issue for a little bit, but I think
Yeah.
he's found,
Found a place now.
he was doing a trial run this week, I
I'm
believe.
gonna say, they got a trailer loaded down the dirt parking lot, so.
All right.
You all set, Millie?
I am, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. F, library trustees resignation and appointment. So Mark Jackson has resigned, and
I didn't know if you wanted to consider,
I think we should take the person who sent in an email first of June 13th, and then the other person's was dated June 25th. So my recommendation would be that we appoint Willie Drury to the board. His email is dated June 13th. Is that okay?
I'll second this.
So, yeah, that's my motion. Yes. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And Knox County report, June and July,
we didn't get any.
didn't get any. Oh, okay. I didn't think I saw it in there, so I don't know if it was something that came through later. And 8, old business. Nothing there. Number 9, new business. Permission for sale of abandoned vehicles.
I've got a couple of vehicles that we removed from the Wentworth property on East Boston.
East Boston.
Yeah, East Boston. There's a 1998 Chevy. I did get the title to both of the vehicles, and a 1999 Toyota Corolla. I've had some interest in acquiring them. I don't know why anybody would want them, but I have had some interest in people wanting them. Is it all right if I just use my judgment in disposing of them?
Please
That's the
do.
one with the rope that keeps the rear doors in place.
No,
Yeah.
it's the whole exhaust on.
Oh, is that what that's doing?
Yep, when we looked at it, moved it, we were like, okay, what's going on? So yeah, it's the whole exhaust off.
And then
My
if
car
it,
runs.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Sorry.
to interrupt. If that doesn't work, I'll just junk them. But even to junk them, you have to have the title, so
Yeah.
but we did get the title.
Any luck on the ones that were up by the church?
They're supposed to be in the next load.
Magnus is on the island.
And not his.
Oh, they're not his?
They're not his.
Oh, they weren't.
I have title to
He didn't
those. I
register?
mean, not I.
No.
The town has title to
Yeah.
those vehicles now,
Yeah,
and I'm
okay.
just trying to junk them.
Okay. I just noticed that he's fishing with Gene Hodge, so if you needed somebody to.
It wasn't,
But they weren't his. I knew that they were up there.
They were his.
but they
no, I
weren't
don't
his.
think, that-
Well,
no.
Okay.
I can't remember now, but I do have the
One
title
was
to those.
Darwin's.
Right,
Mhm.
one was,
Towed last week.
No.
These have been towed for a while.
I thought something.
There's Suburban down there now, like a toolbox.
Something, there was a tow truck in there the other day getting something.
It was dropping off the Suburban.
Maybe they just moved it, and it's a tree got in the other day, random. In that corner, so.
9B, Community Services Agreement, authorized signature of USDA Rural Development Disaster Assistance Program grant funding.
That's a mouthful.
What a title.
5 times fast.
Not even a stumble pan. That was really good.
Ta-da!
I would just like you to give me permission to sign this so that we can apply for this grant. I guess that's all. I mean, I just want permission to sign this community services agreement. This is money that doesn't have any matching funds, which is a good part of it. Just never know. We're trying to apply for whatever is out there. And this is the starting point for this money.
This is gonna be used for
The downtown project, I'm sorry.
There's no fees.
Hmm?
No fees and 100% match.
Nope.
No
No
match.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
yeah, sorry. That's it. No.
Do we need to vote on that, Marge, or can we just say go for it?
I'd like a motion.
Motion to.
Are you making the motion,
Yes,
Don?
I'll make the
Okay, please do.
We authorize Maggie to sign on our behalf.
You're not gonna read that whole thing?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Oh, 9C, renewal of office copier lease.
I thought I might have the new proposal, but I didn't get it. But just to let you know, our copier lease is up in September, and I've been working with Xerox to get a new lease. But it's usually a 5-year lease, so I'll be bringing it to you for approval when we get a final proposal. He said that he might get it to me before this meeting, but I don't have it, so.
9D, discussion on new interpretation of Knox County Sheriff's Department services.
Yeah, this was a I don't know. Always in the past, well, we've never had two deputies before. I guess that's the way to start out this conversation. So we've never paid for cell phones and uniforms, and that's spelled out in the contract. And we've paid 50% of the tolls, the ferry fees. And that's spelled out in under number 7, equipment, office space, and telephone. It says a cell phone and data plan. Oh, the county shall provide a cell phone, etc. But what the paragraph that they're going back to is under number 2, payment by town. They're going to this paragraph that says, should the town request or receive law enforcement services other than those specified in section 1 of this contract, the town shall be responsible for reimbursing the county for 100% of all expenses and costs associated with the additional services. So what they're saying is that Jared is additional services, so that we have to pay 100%. So it's not my interpretation. And, so I'm letting, it's not, I mean, the cell phone isn't that much money. I mean, we knew that we were going to pay 100% of his payroll expenses, right? But they started charging us for the cell phone and some other things and for uniforms. And I said, well, hey, wait a minute. It says in our contract that you're supposed to pay for all that and that you provide all of that. And they came back and said, well, because of this paragraph, that we have to pay, the total cost of having him here, including his cell phone and anything else, any other costs. So I just wanted to let you know, this contract goes through the end of December. They agreed that they would cover it through the end of July. So they weren't going to go back and make us, because we had deducted those expenses off of the invoice through, Debbie and I discussed them when they came in. And I felt, confident that we weren't supposed to be paying those, so we deducted them. But anyway, so that's what they're saying. And starting August 1st, we will be paying those additional fees.
Is there a next level you can speak to?
So
Because
it was the sheriff, Kurt is the deputy, deputy sheriff, and then the new county administrator. I mean, maybe one of the, one factor might be that it's a brand new county administrator, and his interpretation of this contract is different than any interpretation that I've ever had. But then again, we have never had two deputies.
But in my thinking, as long as they're both not on duty at the same time, they're still providing 40 hours a week service for the island, which is what they're contracted to do, regardless of how many deputies are here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we're not asking for something beyond what's in the contract. So they should be paying. You see what I'm saying? They're saying, their paragraph is saying that we're gonna pay for anything 100% above what's in the paragraph above.
Mm-hmm.
If both deputies are not on duty at the same time, they're still only getting 40 hours a week of service, so we're not asking for anything more. Just because they stationed 2 deputies here, doesn't mean we're getting more service than what the contract is written for.
As I said, I disagree with that interpretation, but it will certainly be something moving forward that we'll be sure to look at when we're negotiating a new contract. To make it clear what the county's responsibilities are and what ours are.
How much are we talking for monies?
I didn't add it up.
Ballpark.
Well, when they first started sending us bills for the second deputy, they were charging us for all of his, they had to I don't know, I'm gonna say outfit him, I'm sure that's not the right
All
term.
the equipment and.
All of his
Outfit.
equipment, his uniforms, all of that, they were charging to us. And I didn't think that under the contract that we were supposed to pay for that. I think the county was supposed to pay for that.
I agree.
But I'd have to add it up. I mean, the cell phone, like I said, when I started talking about it, the cell phone in and of itself is not a huge expense.
$1,000 a year, probably something.
Yeah. I guess to me, it was just, oh, suddenly there's a new interpretation that we've never had that interpretation.
We have a list of current, and we can and talk to them about it, because we're really not receiving anything over and above what the contract says.
I was kind of wondering what could and what's thing.
They're leaving it to the administrator,
Yeah,
is what I was
yeah.
told.
Yeah.
But regardless of how many deputies they have, it's the county's job to uniform them and to equip them. It's not
think
the
that's why-
town that they are, or towns that they're watching over. It's not their responsibility.
I think that's always been our interpretation for years.
Is it worth talking to one of the commissioners, our commissioners on the, not
I
kind
don't
of,
know.
she seemed to be pretty reasonable when we dealt with
But I
her.
think the conversation makes sense, because I agree with you, I don't think we should be paying this at all.
But I think it's the commissioner is probably the next level to talk to.
I think it's definitely something that needs to be edited in the contract
She seemed
for
very
next
reasonable.
year.
Was it?
If the only thing they're hanging their hat on is if we're getting more service than what the contract applies to, then they're wrong.
It's the paragraph that I think I
Yes.
highlighted it.
Highlighted it.
That's the paragraph they're going back to, even though under equipment, office space, and telephone, as a for instance, it clearly says, under the county shall assume the cost for the cell phone and data plan that is consistent with the county policy.
Yeah.
And we have always just gone with that.
Well, I think, this person admits that the contract is messy, repetitive, and contradictory in many areas.
Right.
And an argument could be made in many different ways. So certainly when you start negotiations, Marjorie, for the next contract that will end, this one ends the end of December, correct? Then, that's the time to get everything i's dotted and t's crossed. I mean,
Right.
there's no sense to try to fight about it now, because
It is left up to interpretation,
it is.
unfortunately. Even though it's not additional services, because it's only 40 hours a week.
The way I always read that paragraph was, as a for instance, if we had an event and we
Yes.
wanted to hire, or if we wanted the deputy to, if there was something going on at the school, and we said, hey, look, we want some extra services,
A couple hours.
and we're gonna pay you extra, we'll pay 100% of that cost. That's the way I looked at additional
Yes,
services.
that's the way I look at it
do
too.
as well.
Yeah,
We'll have to clarify that even better with the
Yeah.
next contract negotiation.
Alan?
I'm just gonna add on to what Don and Tom just said. I think a discussion with the commissioners should be made, because it's only August.
Yeah.
And if it goes unchallenged until December,
Exactly.
that's 4 months, and.
Well, certainly, the
And then you-
negotiations could start anytime. Marjorie can talk to,
Well,
Well, no, I mean,
Do
as far
whatever.
as like challenging their interpretation,
right.
I'd bring it up, at least in conversation with the commissioners. Because if it goes unchallenged until December.
what's her name?
Set precedent.
What is the
and
commissioner's
it was
name?
Never,
Pullman?
they'll argue that it was never a
Pullman?
problem.
Was
in
that
the
sound
past.
Okay, so,
You might end up knotted into.
we all set on this? Marjorie, do you
Yeah, I
have an
just wanted-
idea of what you want
I just wanted
to
to let you know, because it was,
do? Okay.
Thank you.
9E, wastewater budget.
I'm still working on this, but I think I'm ready to just adopt what I have here. And I would like to increase the fixed charge from $80 to $85 per quarter with this new wastewater budget. So we fund the wastewater budget with just user fees. There's no taxation. And I think it's better to just have very small incremental increases instead of waiting until we have a deficit. If I increase that one fixed charge from 80 to 85, that should give us enough money to fund the wastewater department through June of 2025. We are in a fairly good cash position, maintaining around 300,000 in that checking account. Still contracting with Maine Water, that's the biggest expense. I don't know if you have any questions about some of these line items. It's all very exciting, sludge disposal, and
Just reading through that.
power costs, you know.
A lot of crap.
Literally.
Somebody has to do it.
That's right.
So I would need a motion on adopting the wastewater budget with the increase to $85 per quarter for the fixed charge.
So moved.
Something.
All in favor? 9F, quit claim deed at 221 Old Harbor Road.
This is just at the request of the real estate agent, I guess. They found an unreleased lien from, it was either 85 or 86. It just never got. And as far as Darlene could find out, everything is paid.
I guess, just curious, what's the driver, what are the consequences? It's just clearing up the record.
They're trying
yep.
they're trying to sell the house.
So we just need to clear up the record.
It's just a
that's all
clear,
we're doing.
yep, to clear the,
Clear the title.
Simple.
yep.
Hmm? I like having the work done.
We just have to keep saying it's temporary, it's temporary.
I haven't even heard it. I just tuned it right out.
I can't hear anyway.
Yesterday too, I just tuned it out and the windows were open yesterday.
Are you going to sign, Tom?
Well, I didn't-
Okay, yeah.
Okay, moving on to number 10, report of town manager.
I did give you treasurer's report with all of the balances of the current balances of all of our accounts. I don't know if you have any questions on any of these. Oh, sure. And then I did go to Millie. You might. I didn't think you had the opportunity to go, but I went to a Zoom meeting with Maine Mid-Coast Council of Governments. They're starting up a program that they're calling Resilient Stream and Tidal Crossings in Knox and Waldo counties. So what they're trying to do is document all the problem culverts in those two counties with an effort towards applying for some regional funds to do some hazard mitigation, maybe. I'm not really hopeful that we'll get some money. They were talking about trying to repair the most vulnerable and the most, how am I trying to say, the most apparent in the two counties. So whenever I've done cost benefit analysis for FEMA and all these, different grant agencies, I've never been able to meet the cost benefit analysis because we're an island and not that many people use our roads. So, but I think it's always worthwhile, to be involved in a regional program and document our problem culverts, and maybe there's a chance.
You never know.
You never know. So I'm going to participate and, at some point ask Millie for some information. One of their first parts of the program is to meet with the MCOG staff and to document our problem culverts. So at the very least, we can do that and see where we sit with the program. But
Do we have any, other than the Beaver Dam?
That's
well,
enough.
that's a big one. I think that's,
Can you consider the Vinyl Cove culvert?
I was just
I was
thinking
just
that
thinking
exact
that
same
too.
thing.
How about the one by Spring Lane, across from the town garage? And the lady here,
That's private property, it's not even her property.
it's our cover, it's not a problem.
But that one is more of a problem.
Our problem, yes, in her mind.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no place for the water to go. It's not a question of the culvert being big enough.
Yeah.
You can't go against the tide.
It's true.
well, I'm always hopeful. I'll participate in the program.
Yeah.
Go Marge.
Ask Millie for
I
information.
will certainly join you, obviously, I had hip
No, we're
replacement
busy.
surgeries
Yeah.
and so on going on that week, so it's a little rough.
That's all I have.
Okay. 11, report of members. Hearing none. We will move on to executive session.
Motion to enter in at 6:03.
I'm gonna leave this here.
Thank you.
Shoot me a message.
All right. See you all, thank you.
Thanks, Millie.
Thanks, Mel.
It was nice to meet you folks.
Very nice to meet you.
too.
I'm gonna leave,
Night,
Night,
Alan. Thank you, Alan.
just get my phone number on it, if everything works out, or if anything works out, if I can be of help. One thing I did listen to, and you and I talked about it a little bit, but Hannah Pingree passed a bill years ago, which since the island towns don't receive sheriff's office coverage all the time, that you're supposed to get, she worked it for North Haven, but it applies to you, it applies to us. We never started taking advantage of it until about 4 years ago, but we reached out to Hancock County Sheriff's Office. And our county taxes are supposed to give us some sheriff coverage, and we weren't getting sheriff coverage. So we get a discount on our county taxes for the town. I don't know if you guys get that or not, but I just, I
It's
compared it
worth-
to Marjorie the other day.
Yeah, worth looking into.
We save about $12,000. So, and we started doing that about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
and of course, Hancock County is different from Knox County, but they would be familiar with North Haven, taking advantage of it, so it might be something I'll show you.
great.
Good to know.
Nice speaking to you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Motion in?
Sure, motion in,
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
6:05.
I will stop this.